fuck it, we'll do it live. Okay. We're up, we're running. I got one dog. I've got two dogs. Oh, big old drum. It's Friday. It's wild. Shit's going down. It's late. It's Houston after dark. You can see there's a night sky behind me. I didn't have any real news planned off right top of the bat. Kind of weak in the review. Apparently Elon has scrambled together enough financing somehow to start making a hostile takeover bid of Twitter. There you go. That's going to happen. Bed Bath & Beyond, supposedly their baby division has an offer to sell. And their stock started rocketing. And just before $18, where my calls would have gone the money, they expired today. They halted trading, and my calls never won the money and expired. What is the other big news? Wells Fargo laid off a whole bunch of people in their mortgage division, which that should tell you that the mortgage-backed securities are screwed. And I think we're going to have another 2008 in our hands, housing-wise. That bubble is bursting, and with interest rates going up, less people are going to qualify. They're going to qualify for lower amounts, and they're not going to be able to buy homes. So there's going to start to be a glut on the market, and fewer buyers out there, and we are going to have ourselves a nice old slowdown in the housing market. Anything else to add to that, Monkey? Did you have anything you wanted to add? Did you? Yeah, big dog. I think that's all I had. So let's do this. Boom. I almost forgot to actually do the intro. Can you play that? And my friend Scott is making an After Dark intro. So we're going to have a special After Dark intro, hopefully after this weekend. Woo, I'm so excited. Oh, shit. Ha! 2 weeks in a row. No double intro. I just turned it off. What are you trying to do? What are you clawing at me for? Huh? You're still wet from the yard. Gross. Okay. Let's go to the phone lines here and see what everyone's got yakking about. All right. Boris Oraspy Houston, thoughts on Mullen and dilution. Retail is about to gobble everything, initiating short squeeze. Next, can you take a look, please? Mullen is short squeeze potential. The problem with Mullen is that they don't have any products to produce. Get your head out of the... let me use the keyboard. Come on. Out of the way. No, quit trying to put your head on the keyboard. Just keep your drooly mouth up there. And... yeah, put it... just... there you go. Okay. What was I doing? I was typing Mullen. Jesus Christ. Back down to $1.48. All right, so Mullen's biggest problem, I think, right now is semiconductors, and that they just don't really have a big plant set up to start producing things. The car looks pretty cool, seems to work all right. And they got some battery tech that others may want, but yeah, they're losing money at a pretty good clip. Oh shit, you can't see what I'm doing. I always forget to do that part. Gotta go Chrome. Gotta tell you to turn on that. There we go. All right. So, yes, you are a dog who stares at me all day long. So, Moles, they got some solid state battery cell testing. That's pretty cool. And a couple days ago, got Sylvester Place. Don't you put your head on the keyboard, dog. If you open up a window, reset this chat, I'm going to slap you to the moon. Oh, get out of my way. Okay, so. So, yeah, these guys are saying it's definitely short. Like, the fundamentals are not there for Mullen at the moment. It's all based upon a squeeze play. So, I mean, everyone's just hunting for stocks that are squeezing, and that's what they're looking for. And until we can clear up the semiconductor problems, I think automakers in general are going to be producing a lot fewer cars, and the small guys like Mullen are not going to be able to get a footing in the market if they can't produce any meaningful numbers. If they can't produce it's all folks. If they can't produce any meaningful numbers, that means they're just going to lose money and their seed capital is just going to disappear, and then someone's going to pick up their tech for cheap, and that's what's going to happen. So they're just be burning through cash. So hopefully, if they squeeze, it happens soon. B-Ball 3710 Houston, do you think Melvin folding while showing no short positions because it's offloaded that position to someone else is to try and convince that everyone covered? Yeah, I'm sure that people are going to try to spin that like, oh yeah, they're all covered. But all they've done is push those liabilities onto somebody else. I'd be curious to see what short positions they currently hold and what prices on those shorts go up as a result of them trying to close out everything. And where's Gabe going to get any of this money from to like start a new fund? Who in the right mind is going to give him anything? An absolute fool. And by all means, shut up. So, all right. Okay. Jason Blackwell, Houston, one warp speed tweet, and Gardner is a celebrity. Yeah. So those who don't know, my brother finally joined Twitter, and he tweeted something about like 5 warp speeds. Basically, they've got 5 product lines that are getting ready to go. He's currently in Pleasanton, down in the Bay Area, setting up some factory that they've got going on. I don't know, for metamaterial, and he does what he does. Hopefully, he's gonna come up here for a visit. It'd be good to actually see him and hang out. But I don't know. Maybe we'll see him next week. All right. FJR Pilot, North Carolina, Houston. Can we build a do-it-yourself graphene aluminum ion battery with carbon, natural gas, and beer cans? You can try, but like manufacturing graphene is apparently one of the most tooling-intensive processes known to man, and that's only a very few people can do it. That's if you can figure it out, by all means, have at it. But tooling is nuts. All right. The roommates are having loud conversations. Hey, dogs. Come on. Where's that big dog? Snoopy, come on. Snoopy, come on. Come on. Nope, monkey. Dogs. All dogs in here. We're going to close the door. Come on. Get in here. Get your butt out of the way. They're going to be loud. Nope, Snoopy, watch out. There we go. And silence. Okay. Watch your face. Get your face out of my keyboard. You guys are such monsters. All right, there you go. You can just rest right there. Just don't touch the keyboard. Don't touch the keyboard. Don't touch the keyboard. But, I mean, it's the basic components. You just got some carbon layers with little bits of aluminum put into the matrix, and then you layer them on top of each other, and the unequal electrons apparently causes charges to flow through all those layers, and that's your battery. Seems pretty basic. Okay. You guys in your intros. All right. I do have my drink ready this time, folks. Got lots of water. Boris Raspi, hey, do you guys agree with Boss Blunt's June squeeze? I think, well, we've got a couple of things going on in June. One, Melvin has to be completely out of everything by the end of June. We've got the vote going for GME increasing their authorized shares and getting everybody a whole bunch of shares as a dividend. So that's a big ol' plus. There'll be a date of records sometime after June 2nd, which is going to cause a lot of buying. And then Boss Blunt's theory that these bonds that are associated with Chinese companies that are run by the Chinese military are no longer going to be allowed to count as collateral. So anyone who has such bonds is going to face instant liquidity problems as those things are taken away from their their collateral for assets under management to work towards margin and things like that. So we may see a lot of buying happening. The big issue is, will that Rule 3, the one that makes the IOUs for the IOUs, get passed sometime before then? I don't think so, because overwhelmingly the public comment is, this is garbage, don't you dare do it. And it's really hard to pass a rule when you can't find anyone who's like, oh, what a great idea. Public comment period goes on for at least 3 weeks. That's sometime until, into May, a couple weeks into May. And my guess is that it's going to be so toxic from public comments that they're just going to go, oh, we're going to pull this back and they'll try to submit it again when we're not paying attention. That's my guess. We'll see. Okay. All right, people talking about how 2203 is bad. It seems like a pretty garbage rule to me. The Rule 10, which had appeared last summer and then disappeared, reappeared again, I'm okay with that one. It's just another way to liquidate these hedge funds without saying you're liquidating them. You're just taking all of their assets as collateral and then providing them enough cash to buy everything until they don't have any more, and then they can't pay back to get their collateral. That's whatever. They're still going to have to sell all those shares if they took them as collateral, because they'll all be, they don't do any good if they aren't cash. Wade, you watched the new Batman yet? Yes, actually I watched it the other night because it's on HBO now, and I had a chance to watch that. It's okay. It's all right. The Riddler was more Zodiac killer style, which I thought, okay. But I don't know. Like, was the Batman the good guy? Or was the Riddler? I mean, until the Riddler flooded the city, I was like, I'm on board with what he's doing. Get that corruption out of there. Sad Boy Incorporated. Houston, I sent some pig ears from Monkey Butt and Pea Brain. Thoughts on the hidden epidemic of people going missing in state and national parks. It's estimated there are 100,000 have disappeared. 100,000. I haven't heard about that. National parks, it would be harder for them to disappear than, say, in Bureau of Land Management and National Forests, where there just aren't enough rangers and not enough roads and a lot more mines. Every summer, you'll see like, oh, hikers went missing and they can't find them, and they just kind of give up searching after a while. And my guess is that they fell down a mine shaft, or some crazy gold miner shot them and dropped them down a mine shaft, because gold miners are evil. Dude, get your head away from the keyboard. Just away from the keyboard. Just away from the keyboard, you pea brain. Okay. Yeah, right there. I need like a piece of plexiglass right here for the keyboard. I hadn't heard about 100,000 having disappeared in national parks. Make more sense for me, National Forest or BLM. Because that's where the crazy gold miners are. And all the guys that like grow drugs and stuff like that are out in those places. But thank you for the pig ears. I'll have to keep my eyes out for them. These idiots will love them, right? Yeah. You want everybody to where are we? William Morgan says if Rule 003 passes, it will be almost impossible for MOAS to occur. Not FUD, just educating people. If you think the other side is stupid and have already lost, you are wrong. I tend to agree. 003 is a way for them to infinitely kick the can, just like the reverse repo market, where they can do nightly repos so that in the morning it looks as though they've done their due diligence, and then all day long things are going to go bad. Then at night they can do another repo, and looks like they did their due diligence, and it is a garbage system designed to reward people who fucked up. And, the rule that needs to pass is no more naked short selling. No more naked selling, period. You can't sell naked ever. Anyone. Don't care what your superpower is. Don't care if your name is a bank or a market maker or a hedge fund. No naked selling of any kind. If you have an FTD and the FTD gets the T+2, you get liquidated. Period. And you get fined 50%. That's it. That should be the rule. You sell a share that doesn't exist. You get to the settlement period at T+2, and you don't provide the stock. You get liquidated to go find the stock, put it in someone else's account, and you're fined 50% of the value of that stock as well. That goes to, I don't know, helping kids get shoes for school or something. I don't care where it goes. But you should be financially punished for any naked selling of anything. If I've got a title for my car, right, and I sell that car on Craigslist, sight unseen, to 100 different people, and I've only got one title to my car and only one car in existence, and I send a bunch of IOUs to 99 of them, I'm going to prison. So what's the deal? Why do these rich assholes get this, how come they're the only ones allowed to sell as many cars as they want, whether they own them or not? This is garbage, and it needs to stop. So Rule 003 is, I think if that passes, that's pitchforks and torches time, and should not be allowed. $0.07. Houston just read about massive layoffs. Wells Fargo. Oh, the Wells Fargo thing. Yes. Yeah. Why didn't it get reassigned as skilled labor is in demand right now? Well, I mean, is a mortgage broker skilled labor? They go, all right, punch in your social security number, punch in how much you made, and enter. And the computer says yes or no, and they go yes or no. That's all they do. So I don't think mortgage brokers are quite skilled labor. The person who wrote the computer program the mortgage broker uses, that person's skilled labor. Sadboy Incorporated. Also, YouTube hasn't alerted me of your live stream, even though I have the bell notification turned on. Also, turn off the intro. Intro's off, so you got that. Parataran, you cheeky monkey. Lovely Nighters. What would you see playing out if the U.S. government, etc., halted, manipulated MOAS, sold shares for the $250,000 insurance price? Pitchforks and torches. At some point, people have to go, this crap's enough. Either you took on appropriate risk, or the game doesn't matter. We should all commit crime because, fuck the rules, right? Why should anyone follow the rules if not following the rules rewards you with bajillions of dollars? So that's Viva la Revolution. If the government, doesn't give us what we're due, lets all these rich jerks off the hook, it's time for, burn it all down, man. That's, what else can you say? Cheers to that. Houston, in your opinion, what's the most diabolical move concerning the dividend for MMTLP? Cash, Oilco stock, public or private, or a combination of stock and cash? Well, MMTLP will turn into Oilco, so you will get Oilco stock before they ever do sales with anybody. And then when they sell it, that stock is going to vanish, and you're going to have cash replaced in your account. Now, I think that alone should be enough to terrify shorts. If they shorted any Torchlight prior to the merger, and they did not gobble up enough of those MMTLP shares when they were made available to trade, they're screwed. Because if that dividend is anywhere above $10, they're going to be owing billions upon billions upon billions in cash. And you can't avoid paying out cash on something like that. You need to reach into your pockets and you need to pay that money. So if there's a billion Torchlight shorts and they only gobbled up 100 million, 200 million of them, those MMTLPs, then they still have 800 million at $10 a share for dividends. $8 billion in cash they got to come up with. If it ends up being something insane, which is, oil rises to 130, 150 a barrel, you're looking at maybe 80 to 100 billion dollars that they're responsible for. What? Right? And if they can't pay the cash, then they get recalled. So they have to pay the cash and they got to go out and find the share that they shorted. Problem is that Torchlight doesn't exist anymore, so the share they have to buy back is going to be an MMTLP share. So I think it's going to do pretty well. It's just going to be a while because George basically said, "Hey, man, the bureaucratic loopholes we have to get around for this for the leasing rules, like you have got to do a certain amount of drilling, got to prove what's there, got to pump stuff, got to do these things, just a pain in the butt." And they got all these SEC filings they got to do to transfer it over to Oilco, which I think they're hoping to do this past quarter, but it sounds like it's just taking time. So they're just stuck. They're stuck doing all these little procedural things, and they got a little team on it. Israel Vasquez, what do you think about Chipotle? Are they overvalued? Calls puts on both. Chipotle, like the restaurant? I've never been to one, so I don't know. Aren't they the one that like constantly poisons people and is always getting sued for that? Chipotle. CMG, that's theirs. They're trading at, damn son, they're at $1,400 a share. Chipotle's worth $41 billion. I've never been to a Chipotle. How are they worth $41 billion? I don't even know if there's one around here somewhere. Is there a Chipotle anywhere around here? Let me find out if there's a Chipotle near me. Oh, apparently there is one. There's one in Silverdale. And there's two in Seattle. How are you worth $41 billion if there's only like 3 restaurants around you? How much is McDonald's currently worth right now? McDonald's. Oh, Donald's. Dang it. I can spell. I know I can. McDonald's. Yahoo Finance. Where is there stock? There we go. Not Wikipedia. Give me the friggin' that. I want that. Just give me the stupid MCD. Okay. McDonald's. Take me to there. Where is your stats? Give me your stats. Give me your... Why is this so hard? MCD. There we go. Okay. Market cap. So McDonald's is worth $185 billion, so like 4 times what Chipotle is. But if I type McDonald's into here, in that same map, so if I zoom out to the same scale as the other one, I've got how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. At least 12? Alright. So I guess that's 4 times as many. That makes sense. Okay. So if there's 4 times as many McDonald's as Chipotle's in that same map area, maybe that's why they're worth $185 billion versus $41 billion. But anyway, MCD, $41 billion, which seems just insane to me. Come back. Man, 41 billion. Nuts. Seriously, I've never been to one. There's like delicious local burritos I can get. And I don't have to worry about E. coli because, as far as I know, there's never been an E. coli outbreak at Megalitos. But man, that's a lot. They must not have very many shares out there. Like 230,000 shares. What's their allotted shares? Where is it? Show me how many shares. Oh, do I have to do the math? I want to do the math. Okay. 41 billion. 41, 4, 9, 3, a bunch of zeros. Divide that by 1480. And there's only 28 million shares for Chipotle that exist. That's a really small number. That's weird. You'd think they'd have like a bajillion shares because they're just a fast food company. So, are they overvalued? Considering the fact that I've never used them, yeah. But what's their what it look like over the last year? So they've been almost as high as $2,000. Dang, son. So, judging them by their 5-year, they're worth $200 something dollars 5 years ago. Steady climb ever since. I bet this drops. Think about what's going on right now. They're going to have to raise their prices because of inflation. Folks are going to be tightening their belts because everything else, heat, fuel, water, electricity, you name it, all that stuff's going up. And when that stuff goes up, they're less likely to treat themselves to an E. coli burrito or some salmonella salad. And yeah, looks like it peaked and it's just on its way down. So I just can't imagine that a burrito place be worth $40 billion. That just blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. Without looking at it further, man, if you had puts here, if you had bought puts in August for May, right? Drop $500. That's $50,000 a put you'd make off of those suckers. Not too shabby. Could have made a fortune buying puts on that sucker from just 6 months out. Ooh, sounds nice. All right, back to there. Where was I? There's the Wells Fargo one, the little bell thing, Paraterran, 750 nut question, William Morgan, talking about the rule. Paraterran, long-time listener, first-time birthday. What was the timeline from June 2nd board vote to the dividend to it being implemented? Trying to gauge until I quit my job. We don't know. They may already have a date of record ready to go. My guess is they'll make the date of record after the vote. They may have already set a date of record and be like, okay, everyone who owned shares back in May, that was the date of record, and we're going to issue this dividend 10 days from now or something. They can do whatever they want. I think if they made the date of record prior to the vote, that would result in one squeeze. If they make it after the vote, we may get two squeezes. We'll get the squeeze of the share recalls of all those lent out shares, and we'll get the squeeze of those FTDs for the folks who didn't provide any shares for the synthetics that were generated from the failures to deliver. So, I'm making them twice. I'm going to do whichever one allows me to retire. That's what I'm going to go with. Maybe keep a couple for squeeze number 2. I don't know. Where was... Oh, Super Chat. John Doe. Where is the list of hedge funds that are market makers? You had it in a prior webcast. It's so long ago. Where did I put that list? I got it from... It was like in a comment in a Reddit post a year ago. And I was like, oh shit. But there's a bunch of hedge funds that received market maker status basically from 2019 to sometime last year. Which to me is asinine. Like, why are you allowing these hedge funds to become market makers as well, and basically allow them like all the power in the world? What are you doing, little dog? What's going on, buddy? What's going on? Want to come say hi? Come on. Come on. Come say hi. Come on. Come on, monkey. Come on. There we go. Everyone wants to say hi to you. Yeah. Sweet little dog. Sweet little dog. Yes. Like my dinner? Okay. She's like, no, I did not like your dinner. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah. Market maker status. Where was that? If I tweeted it out, it may have been on my account that got deleted. I'll try to find that link. That link. If I find it, I'll tweet it out because it exists. There's a whole list of them approved. There's like 40 or 50 of them that have gotten market maker status, which is gross. Okay. Okay, there's that one. There's Paraterran's question. Greg Mathis. Elon is on a tirade at Bill Gates. Elon has confirmed Bill Gates has 500 million short position against Tesla. Really? Huh. So, battle of the billionaires? Maybe? I'm okay with that. Just like the oligarch war that's happening in Russia right now. Let them just take each other on. Who cares? Fewer asshole billionaires is just fine with me. Michael K. Houston, I heard you say stock divvy won't lower price, but I read GameStop's corporate announcements, which talk about the split being a way to attract buyers at a lower price. Yes, that's what they said. Just like all of the short hedge funds said they closed their positions with GameStop. They did not. This is a wink to the SEC. And the SEC, in their report about the squeeze in January of last year, was a wink back to GameStop. So the shorts never closed their positions. All they did was they found swaps and ways to sort of delay the inevitable. But they said in front of Congress and God and everyone else, they said, hey, we closed our positions. We're closed. It's done. It's over. And then, 2 weeks later, it squeezed again. And then 3 months after that, it squeezed again. And then 5 months after that, it squeezed again. And then last month, it squeezed again. So it's proof that they didn't close. But the SEC, taking them at their word and saying, oh, hey, man, they said they closed, means GameStop can issue a stock dividend like this and say they're doing it to lower the price to attract more buyers and not as a way to force a squeeze of their company. If they said, hey, we're issuing this stock dividend because we know it's going to fuck over every single hedge fund out there and absolutely just murder them, that's why we're doing it, then they would face legal limbo. They might get sued for like, hey, you said you can't make actions like this to force a squeeze and yap. But they can now issue this thing saying like, hey, these guys said we aren't shorted, so we're offering this to lower the price overall by increasing the float and diluting the pool. And the short hedge funds have to go along with it because short hedge funds said they closed. So it's all like nudges and winks and, let me tell you. That's what's going on. Okay. Lost Waves, talk about the death of Netflix. I mean, what is there to talk about? It appears that so much of their executive management is folks from BCG. So, oops. I think that they got torpedoed from within. That they kind of, they went on this big spree starting in 2015, 2016, where they started developing big budget shows. They cost a lot of money. And they got a lot of views, but the problem is that when you release everything all at once, everyone spends 8 hours watching it and then moves on to the next thing. So you're not drawing out those viewers over long periods of time. And I think they're finding it hard to produce relevant shows at a high enough budget for sustained releases throughout the year. In movies as well. The number of movies that they produce have dropped off significantly, and the quality of them has... they've done a lot of what you see on there is straight to video for your convenience. You know, like the stuff that David Dudikoff would have started in back in the 80s. And, you know, those are good for, like, I can't find anything else. Let's watch this British guy do a really bad spy movie that's low budget and filmed in Mexico and looks like everything was filmed in mom's house. That's not how you keep viewers, especially when you're the most expensive service out there. Hulu's cheaper, Disney Plus is cheaper, HBO's cheaper, Apple's cheaper, Paramount Plus is cheaper, Peacock is cheaper. Every single service is cheaper than Netflix. So Netflix needs to lower prices and get better shows. That's it. Instead, they raise prices. They're making worse shows, and that's not how you survive. I mean, Prime, it's just having a merger with MGM, so now they got the entire MGM war chest from the last 100 years of stuff they've made. So Prime now has the ability to just dump tons of shows that people have from their childhood, movies, you name it. They've got a huge arsenal. Netflix may need to do something similar, or they may need to get bought up by somebody who has that stuff. Like if Paramount or Sony bought, I think Paramount is Sony, if I remember correctly. That might be it. But let's say CBS or Disney or someone bought Netflix, then they might have a chance of surviving longer. But they're going to have to come to Jesus and figure out how to make better shows and more of them. And, you know, they're like, oh, we're going to make an advertised platform with commercials. No. Ain't no one got time for that. No, nobody wants to watch commercials. They don't want to watch commercials on my show, and they watch them later. Like, ugh, commercials. I feel the same way. But, you know, that's how I get that penny. Get that penny per view out of you. By making you watch, I have no idea. What commercials play during my show? I have no idea. Hope it's all like commercials for Viagra and people that either can't pee enough or pee too much. Just like the evening news. Evening news is Cialis. I have a hard time peeing. I can't stop peeing. It's pretty much those three that if you watch the evening news. I hope that's my demographic as well. Okay. Oli Shand, I see you always talking about puts. What actually are these? Puts and calls, options. Basically, they're bets. An option is a bet that you think a stock price is going to go up. So you pay a small fee for a contract. And that contract is the right to purchase 100 shares at whatever the strike price is for that contract. So if I've got Microsoft, and I've noted Microsoft might be around $300 right now, and I think Microsoft's going to go up. I think it's going to go up to like $350, and I'm going to pay a fee and buy a bunch of contracts at $310, which means I can't exercise them because they're below $310. But if I pay, I don't know, $300 per contract, I can have the right to buy Microsoft stock at $310 if the price of Microsoft stock goes above $310. So if the price of Microsoft does go to $350 before my contract expires, then I can basically make $4,000 per contract, $1 per share for 100 shares between $310 and $350. So that $40 right there, add $40 to every single one of those shares. I just made $4,000 on each one of those contracts. Because I could pick up $350 shares for $310. Woohoo! I won. I made an awesome bet. If it doesn't hit that strike price and we get to the expiration date, then I'm screwed and it's over. And that's it. Oops. I lost all my money. A put is betting a price is going to go down. And so when you buy a put, you're paying somebody a premium. and it guarantees they're going to buy shares from you. 100 shares if the price drops below a certain point. So let's say Microsoft's trading at $300. I think it's going to go down. I think it's going to go down to 260. So it's going to drop $40. So I buy puts at 290 for, whatever the fee is for that. And if the price drops from 300 down to 250, 260, 240, whatever it is, I now made a bunch of money by selling shares at 290 when the shares are selling in the market for like 250. So I just made $40 per share for 100 shares in each one of those puts. Because what happens is they're going to buy those shares from me, but really I go out and buy them for 250 and then sell them for 290. So I made a $4,000 profit for that entire block of 100 shares. So that's puts and calls. And so when someone says they're buying puts in something, it means they're betting the price is going to go down. And when someone buys calls, they're betting the price is going to go up. And the person who sells calls is betting the price isn't going to go up. The person who sells puts is betting the price is going to go up. So because they want that change, that $300 for their covered call or the covered put, and they think it's going to, if they're selling a put, they think the price is going to go up, and they're not going to worry about paying you a bunch of money. That's how that works. Pure Chase, Sears moving, signs of things to come. I think so. With the fact they're winding down, winding in, winding around, the bankruptcy case means that if there's any cash left over, the shareholders should get some of it. There's arguments saying that might not happen, but those shares are going to get closed out eventually. So what was that, like 12 cents now? Something like that. SHLDQ. All right, we're at 10 cents. All right, so not too shabby. Last 5 days, we had a peak of 12 cents. 11 cents the other day. On Thursday, 10 cents today. So, yeah, it was down to like 1 penny not too long ago. Yeah, down to 1 cent for much of January. Every once in a while spikes to like 3 or 4, but recently we've been spiking pretty high. It's still below what I paid for them. I paid, I think, 20 cents for all mine, but I'm hoping that they still have a lot of real estate holdings they haven't touched. So they still owe like 50 or 60 million dollars, but apparently have several billion in real estate that they have not sold. And if they pay off their debts and there's all this cash left, well, who owns it? Well, we technically own it, right? So that's what we're looking at. All right. Jay King, Houston, great shirt, and thanks for the late night. Also, one question: should I buy GME now or wait for it to come down some? I don't know how much lower it's going to come down. Today it closed pretty low for Friday, but it still might have been around max pain. I didn't look to see what max pain was today. That's when calls and puts meet, and there's a point where so few of them go in the money for both that it causes max pain for everyone playing those options. And I think the market makers don't want options going in the money, because if they go in the money, then they have to go out and buy shares they don't have, and the price goes up. And if they have to go out and buy shares they don't have, that means more call options go in the money. And if more of those call options go in the money, they find even more shares, which brings their liability up, especially with this dividend coming. So there you go. 750 Nut, Robinhood moments ago sent out notices to vote proxy for GameStop. Oh, all right. So that's happening. I got no news of that in here. People like the shirt. I figured it's appropriate for After Dark shirt. Got the moon on here and the sunset. Even though the sunset was a couple hours ago. Guys are digging it. Lost Waves, Houston, sup with your boy Julian Assange. Not my boy. I will not claim Julian Assange. Julian's getting extradited. He's going to be sent to the U.S. He's going to face criminal charges. I'm waiting to see what all those charges are. Julian may have set out as sort of a well-meaning anarchist who wanted to bring down governments all over the world, but he eventually became a stooge for the Russians, where he refused to release any data whatsoever that would make the Kremlin or Russia look bad. And he kept rejecting several instances where he rejected Russian leaks, and then somebody else had to leak it, and it was bad. So it got so bad that when it came to the Panama Papers and the Pandora Papers, those folks didn't even bother going to WikiLeaks. They're like, nope, WikiLeaks is not going to talk about this stuff because it shows where those oligarchs are hiding money, and they're not going to touch it. So they even stopped trying to release things to WikiLeaks. There are a couple instances, a couple big ones where like 35,000 documents got leaked, and WikiLeaks like, yeah, we're not going to talk about that at all. And then someone went to Financial Times or something and had them release them instead. And then Julian Assange, he was paid by Russia. He had a TV show on Russia Today called The World Today with Julian Assange. He was an employee of the Kremlin while he was inside the Ecuadorian embassy trying to avoid arrest and extradition. So I think Putin was like, hey, man, you can stay in the Ecuadorian embassy. I got some pals in there. You can do a show and make some money, and you just aren't allowed to leak anything about Russia. And Julian Assange is like, okay. And if you do leak bad things about Russia, we don't approve. So I think that's how it works. Houston Wade Jr. Hello, son. Is it possible Netflix's sizable devaluation triggered a collateral issue leading to margin calls? I think it's very possible. Netflix was one of those steady folks in the NASDAQ that were keeping the NASDAQ afloat all winter. Most of the stocks inside of NASDAQ are just tanking like shit. But Microsoft, Amazon, Netflix, Apple, Tesla, I think those were the five. Everyone's like, look, these guys are keeping this whole NASDAQ 1000 up there. And now there's some chinks in the armor. And now the NASDAQ's dropped almost 20% since the beginning of the year. It's down 19 point something percent. Let's see here. NASDAQ. NASDAQ Composite year to date. Yeah, so 15. Yeah, we're down almost 20% since the beginning of the year. That's not particularly good. That's quite the contraction for an entire index like that. Yeah. Oops. Drew, there's a chance I don't get my dividend shares during the squeeze, and I get it after, so I won't be able to sell those shares for millions. And do you still think it will hit millions with dividend? It's entirely possible. If this SFT rule, the 003 one, manages to pass before then we might be screwed. And again, pitchforks and torches. But if we get two squeezes out of this, if we get a squeeze when there's a recall and prices go, and then we get our shares dumped on us, and there's another squeeze because people are defaulting on their obligations to pay the dividend, then you might get a second chance out of it. So, yay for you, yay for us. Take that. Pure Chase, Houston, how do market makers hedge against puts? Also, does a large amount of in-the-money puts have on a stock's price? Having puts in the money is like having calls in the money. If too many of them are in the money, you got to go find the shares somewhere, which means you got to go out in the market and buy them. So there can be gamma from both. How do they hedge against them? Well, easy way to hedge against puts is with calls. So, you got one of each. So you can make money one way or the other, especially with a highly volatile stock like GameStop that's just woohoo. if you manage to buy both calls and puts at set prices, and it can go one way or the other, and if you have them long enough term out, you might be able to hit both along the way and make money off both. You can also hedge just by buying the stock and going long. So if you bought a bunch of puts, to hedge against that would be to buy the stock itself. So, there you go. John Doe also asks, why can't computer shares show a real-time or registered total? Supposedly, 2 companies inquired. Can somebody ask this at the annual meeting? Thank you. I don't know. That's weird. You'd think they'd be able to just go, GameStop. Oh, okay. There's 9 million of you here. I don't understand why there wasn't like a SQL server or something that can just tally that up for you. Even Excel spreadsheet. So, I don't know. Yes. Hopefully someone can ask that. Best of the rest 222. Houston, can you be so kind as to explain interest rate hikes effects on the layman? I need good examples to tell my friends what it means to us. Best thing you can do is a mortgage calculator. Okay, let's actually remember to just mortgage calculator. Bam. Okay, so this here got a $400,000 home, $80,000 down payment. You're borrowing $320,000 at 5.1%, which is what the 30 year is right about now. Property tax is $2,400 a year, which gets rolled into that, and you might need insurance and all those things. We're gonna calculate. So you are paying $2,000 a month on your mortgage. Because you got 20% down, so you don't need the mortgage insurance, luckily. And you're going to be paying $700,000 total for your house over the 30 years. Now, if this was 5 months ago, where you might be able to get a 2% loan, right? And calculate that sucker. So, $1,400 a month, and you're only paying $527,000. So basically, you're saving $200,000 over the 30 years, and $600 a month. Now, if the interest rate shoots up to 7 or 8% by this fall, which some think, let's put it 8%, calculate that, then you're paying $2,600 a month. So you're paying $1,200 more a month in your mortgage in less than a year's time from November, right? And now you're paying almost $1 million for a $400,000 house. That's brutal. Absolutely brutal. So it's eating up a bunch of people's income. If you were someone who got an adjustable rate mortgage, these things they used to call subprimes, you may have had a 1 or 2% interest rate at the beginning. Let's say it's 1% interest rate, right? For 2 years, you have 1% interest rate. And you bought a $400,000 house, your mortgage is $1,300 a month. And then all of a sudden your mortgage doubles after 2 years overnight because it sets the adjustable rate. So whatever the trending line is for mortgages, and all of a sudden you're paying an extra $1,500 a month out of nowhere. You probably have a mortgage that's at an amount that is comfortable. Allows you to put away $500 a month here and there in savings, things like that. You got a Hello Rainy Day fund in case the roof needs to be fixed or, a pipe breaks or whatever. And then all of a sudden, that rainy day fund disappears and you have to pay it all in mortgage. And if you don't, the bank is taking it. That is why these interest rates matter so much. The thing is that the average home price right now is $500,000. So, we'll put that at 100. Oops. 100,000 there. And at 8% interest, or 7, I'll say 7% interest, which it likely will be this summer. Calculate that sucker. You're paying $3,000 a month on your mortgage for the average price house in the United States by this summer. So if you are looking for a loan, you want to buy a house, you need to be able to make at least $3,000 a month as 1/3 of your income. So to buy a $500,000 house, you have to be making about $9,000 a month. And that is not, the average wage in the United States is not $100,000 a year. The average wage in the United States is $64,000. So that means a lot of folks who want to buy a house can't because they just don't exist anymore. So that's a big reason why everyone's effed in the A, and the housing market's going to take a huge hit. Huge hit. Huge hit. Sam H. Houston, what are your thoughts on the string of food processing plants being destroyed by fires and plane crashes? What? I had not heard about that. Food processing plants being destroyed? Huh. Food shortages in America. Should we worry about the recent string of food processing plants? I had not heard about that. How come no one told me about this? This was news as of yesterday. Bazinga, tell me which ones have burned. Okay. String of disasters at food production plants and warehouses, mainly in the U.S. So, these are just tiny URLs. Tell me which ones. 2 months ago. Okay. What are you? Ohio State in plane crashes in Idaho potato and food processing plant killing the pilot. Weird. Okay. That's one. When was that? That was last week. Okay. Strange. It's a little plane though, so that's not too bad. Too much damage. What about this one? This one is 50,000 pounds of food destroyed after fire ripped through Maricopa food pantry. All right, so that is food pantry. So that's for like homeless people and people that are on the brink. So Twitter one. Rio Fresh's onion warehouse damaged in fire. That was the 1st of April. That's Texas. That's onions. That's just seasoning for food. That's not actual bulk food. Well, this one. On the U.S. Taiwan Grocery Logistics Center burned down. 27 million chickens and turkeys and counting, cold because of bird flu. That's happening. Yeah, there's lots of bird flu going on. Here's more. All right. Oh, dog, get your face out of my way. Kellogg Company, Cargill Nutrina Feed Mill. I don't know if this is normal. Mills will blow up a lot. They will do that mainly because it's aerosolized, flammable, dried, burnable stuff. So there are mill explosions like all the time. All it takes is one is like them pounding grain and the dust gets in the air and somebody lights a cigarette and place blows up. Same reason why sawmills used to blow up all the time back in the day. Is that all that sawdust, little microparticles, sawdust would get in the air, and then somebody would light their pipe and just blow the building up. So that's happened a lot. Whether this is an abnormal amount of accidents at food processing plants, I don't know. But conversely, in Russia, they're having an adverse number of major fires at military buildings and important war production facilities. So the chemical plant that basically makes all the accelerants for rockets and bombs and stuff, jet fuel, burned down. The office building where they design rockets for military and space, burned down. The engineering, sort of like the DARPA office for Russian military, that burned down also. I think they're facing possibly a sabotage campaign against some of their more important strategic military sites. Someone's just like, well, I'm going to pour a barrel of oil here, light that sucker on fire, and see you later. So that's happening. I'd be curious to see who is feeding them the intelligence and who is burning these places down. It's pretty simple. You don't drop a bomb on them. You just pour some gasoline and light the sucker and walk away. Aaron Salentine, Houston, do you believe the MMTLP dividend will be $50 plus? And if so, how does it affect shorts if they don't want to pay? I hope it's $50 plus. I have no idea if it will be. I think for it to be $20 means the land has to sell for about $4 billion, which seems pretty possible. I'm happy with anything more than $1.50 because that means I made money off of it. Anything above $10 means the shorts are screwed. $50 is absolutely insane. And I mean, some of the math folks have done showing that if oil's at $150 a barrel when it comes time to sell, that it could mean like $100 per share, which I think is just bonkers. I don't know how. It just my brain hasn't wrapped itself around that yet to figure out how that would sell for that much. But I'm happy with anything above $10 is enough to screw over the shorts. Aaron Salentine also asked, Houston, I voted on Robinhood for the stock dividend for GameStop, but I have 14 shares on there. Weird thing is GameStop registered only 7. So are the other 7 shares fake? That's weird. You should have been allowed to vote for all 14. I'd call Robinhood and be like, hey, bro, what's up? And see what their answer is. Lost Waves wants another intro. Man, I'm only 9 minutes into the show on the chat, and I'm already 52 minutes behind. You guys are amazing. 300 of you on a Friday night. It's got to be just butt crack of dawn where you are, or just the middle of the night for most of you folks. Diehards. Hanging out, hanging tough. Sean Marcos, say one day before the split date, we have 20 market maker GME shares left with DTC and GME board decides to do 5-to-1 split. Do you think those 20 market maker GME share will become 120 market maker? Oh, it's talking about million? 20 million GME shares left with DTCC? I think it's saying it's a million. That's the MM. My brain's thinking market maker. Let me read that again. Sean Marcos. Say one day before the split date, we've got 20 million GME shares left with the DTCC and GME board decides to do a 5-to-1 split. Do you think those 20 million GME shares will become 120 million shares after the split? Yes. That's how it'll work. You basically add 5 to that one that exists, so it's 6 now, so 6 times the amount. You'll be 120 million. That's how it works. Yo ma. All right. Oh crap, chat just reset again. One sec, let me get back up here. And alright, I lost like 11 minutes of the chat. Sorry about that. Cameron Mirza, good morning, Houston. What's with what's going on in China? Are we going into squeeze play with GME by June? Happy birthday. That's the Boss Blunt's theory. I mean, we've got defaults happening from 2 major countries and some minor countries right now for government bonds. We have the commercial bond market starting to slip. HYG, we talked about them a lot last fall. Get out of my way, Bazinga. Keep getting out of my way. Nope. Go, get. Arrgh. Go away. Get back into Yahoo here. All right, HYG. Oh, you guys can't see what I'm doing. So HYG, we're now down to $79 on that mortgage junk bond thing. So last year we were pushing $88, $89 on this thing. So this is September. And when the economy is about to do bad is when you start to see drops, right? Oh my gosh. And when the economy was in the shitter in 2020, look at this drop. From $88 down to 69 was the low there. And we are dropping like a rock right now. Probably a good time to buy puts on HYG if you didn't get them already. If you bought HIYG puts here, you'd be up, $1,000. So per put, and their puts were pretty cheap. Like up here, because it was so steady, up here their puts were, like 20 cents. And if just slightly out of the money, like you could buy a lot of them. So can make some great cash. It's just falling off a cliff right now. But what was the question? What was that? It's about China. So if companies are having a hard time paying off their bonds, they're having a hard time raising money for new bonds, and nations are having a hard time paying off their bonds, and companies within those nations are having a hard time paying off their bonds, then a lot of assets under management, which are bond holdings, are going to evaporate. The value of those bonds are plummeting right now. They've dropped 15% in the last 2 months. So look for them to drop further. The worse things get financially, the further those bonds are going to drop and be more valueless. Greg Mathis, Houston. My 9-year-old daughter showed me the first ever YouTube video earlier, which was at the San Diego Zoo. Never knew that. Yeah, it's like Bobby Goes to the Zoo or something. It's not an exciting video at all. But it's the first one ever. So make that an NFT and sell it for $200. You guys hear about that? That Jack Dorsey minted the first tweet ever, and it got bought for $2.9 million. And then the guy turned around, put it up for auction. It sold for like $200. That was a great headline. That was a $2.9 million NFT sold for $2.9 million loss. Like, oh, beauty. Jeffrey asks, how will ruling affect GME potential squeeze? Talking about the rule 3. I think it screws us. It screws us at Chancem OS. That's why we should pitchfork and torches. Burn it down if they pass that rule. Spence's inside out sweater. I get shirts from Chipotle, but I keep going back. That's why I haven't gone. I don't want to end up having to get kidney dialysis for the rest of my life because of some undercooked ground beef or something they got there. JL, they are one of the ones who cried that they had to raise employees' wages, so they jacked their prices. Oh, one of those. There's a beautiful story. I've told this several times about this pizza restaurant this summer in Florida, and the owner's like, you know what, guys, I'm not going to take any money tonight. Everything that we make in this restaurant, all the profit that would go to me, is going to go to you. And the workers at the restaurant averaged like $70 an hour for the anniversary of this restaurant. And they're like, wait, this is how much money you take home? There's 20 of us working, and you take home like $65 an hour on every single one of these employees? And the owner's like, yeah. And they're like, well, we fucking quit. Like, peace, I'm out. Not too difficult. Like, yeah. They'll complain about, oh, wages too high, inflation, and then they'll post record profits. They do that all the time. Record McDonald just posted record profits. Like, why complain about inflation then? Coca-Cola proved to keep the price of a bottle of Coca-Cola at 5 cents for 70 years. Arizona iced tea, the price of Arizona iced tea has been 99 cents for 30 years now. Has not changed. So, yeah. And the owner of Arizona iced tea is like, well, you know what? Yeah, we're making a little bit less profit than we were before, but we're still profitable. And they're privately owned, so they don't have to go out and show constant growth for shareholders. They can just happily be worth $4 billion and not change a damn thing, and keep Arizona iced teas cheap enough for anyone to go drink 23 ounces, wherever the size those cans are. It's beautiful. And they're like, yeah, the price of cans has doubled. The price of ingredients has gone up. But you know what? We're still making profit, so we're not going to raise the prices. That, you know, I bow to you, creators of Arizona iced tea. Way to you know, be true to your mission. Madi, you never been to Chipotle? Bro, you live in the U.S. Yeah, I do live in the U.S. I just, like, we have a little, like, fast food burrito place called Megalitos. Used to be called Casa Rojas Express because it's owned by the family that owns Casa Rojas Mexican restaurant. And it's delicious. It's awesome burritos. I have no need to, like, closest Chipotle is 40 minutes from me, and the Megalitos is right down the street. So I know I've never been to Chipotle, never had one. Completely ignorant as to what quality of their food is, but I constantly see them, like, getting sued for food poisoning and like having like outbreaks of E. coli and salmonella all the time. So it kind of, like, I don't know. I got salmonella once from Pizza Hut, and that was awful. I don't ever want to experience salmonella ever again. And I hope that I'm immune to salmonella now. I don't know. I don't know how that works, but I'd never want to shit that much in my life. I lost over 40 pounds in 4 days. That's how much I shit my brains out from salmonella. If you are desperately overweight and you want to lose so much weight that you can never gain back for another couple of years because your body's completely destroyed, just go eat a bunch of raw chicken. Shit your brains out. Go on Cipro and whatever other stuff they give you that absolutely just kills all of your gut flora or gut fauna. And then when you like eat a sandwich, 30 seconds later, a whole entire sandwich comes out that's completely undigested. It's pretty incredible. It was so hard for me to put weight back on, and I was still trying to play college baseball at the time, and it was brutal. Imagine me, like I'm in pretty skinny phase right now. Imagine this body 80 pounds lighter, 80 pounds lighter. That's how much weight total I lost from salmonella. I've done 120 pounds. I'm 6'4". 6'4", 120 is like Holocaust weight. Like, it was so bad. The first time I tried to throw a baseball, after that, I pulled my oblique off my chest and I couldn't throw again for like 3 months. The drawstring on my shorts, I got it. I was in Hawaii. I got it just at the end, as the spring term was ending, and basically left my summer clothes in Hawaii and came home with almost no bags, and because I didn't have the energy to do anything. I got home and just went to the Goodwill and bought new clothes. When I got back to Hawaii the following fall, I'd gained maybe 30 pounds back, up like 150, which is still way too skinny for someone my size. And I finally did the laundry of all like my Hawaii clothes, and I went to pull out a pair of shorts and I couldn't get them above my knees because the drawstring was like that tied, like that big around. That's how skinny. It was just awful. Yeah. So I just don't fuck with Chipotle. Just had no interest, and I will probably never do that again. All right. She's rocking the Christian Bale mechanic body. Yeah, it was bad. There's a picture of me the day I got out of the hospital. We went to go like play in the river in Hilo. I'm just going like this, and it's just like ribs in like my humerus, and there's no muscle tone left on my entire body. It's just gone. It was brutal. Marty, lovely night streams, Houston. Thank you, Marty. Get into the weird stuff, man. Just, best diet ever. Well, I should have just sued Pizza Hut and taken a big settlement check and retired. But I was like, oh, no, guys. Don't worry about it. I'm an idiot. Get a lawyer, sue, retire. That's the American dream. Rusty Nail, one thing that can unite a conservative like me and a Dem like you is if they change the rules and avoid paying us and we wind up losing money in the end, that would make for a diabolical army. It's true. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. And together, we can pitchfork and torch it all day long. BW Brand, Brokers are not all, brokers are already all, I have a hard time reading tonight. It's too late. Brokers are already not sending out voting materials for GME or putting in proxy vote on behalf of GME holders without any input from them. Interesting. Very interesting. John Doe also asks, why can't we find any prospectus paperwork for the derivative investment that holds the losing GME or mean basket short positions? Thanks. Because they hit it. A lot of the shorts were done through these weird things called equity swaps. And equity swaps are the market maker generates a whole bunch of short shares. They sell naked, a whole bunch of naked shorts. And those naked shorts turn to FTDs. And what a hedge fund will do is a hedge fund will essentially lease the rights to that short position. So rather than the market maker having the liability of these shorts, they sell that liability to a hedge fund. And the hedge fund gets all that cash. And the hedge fund has this loose responsibility to make good on all those naked sold shorts. The thing is that because they weren't directly sold by the hedge fund and their liability isn't tied to the market maker, technically no one has to report it. So those derivatives, those liabilities are not officially reported on anyone's 10Ks, 13Fs, whatever. No one has to report it on anything. So it doesn't go to S3, it doesn't go to Ortex, it doesn't go to Morningstar. Like no one gets the reporting of this, and it's hidden in like a spiral bound notebook, in the mess of the room of a child of some hedge fund manager. I have no idea where it is. But the market maker won't take responsibility for it, and the hedge fund doesn't have to report it. So a lot of these shorts are hidden. And that's that. So you'd think that perhaps maybe one of the rule changes they should focus on is forcing reporting of these things. If they aren't going to outlaw naked short selling, at least force the naked short sellers to report this stuff to everybody. So, what's with you? Why don't you want to sleep on your bed today? Huh? You want to sit under my chair. Okay. It's just dog hairs are like, I feel like they're all over me, just floating through the air. You shed so much, you big monster. Just feel like there's just hairs tickling me in the face at all times. Grandpa Barney's here. Woo! What, Bainbridge brother. So I'm late. What's up with 003 being able to hose us? Oh, well, we just covered that a few minutes ago. For those of you just joining us at 11 o'clock Pacific time, wherever you happen to be in the world. 003, the basis of it's 48 pages long or something. But the gist of it is a hedge fund is about to get margin called. And they've got a whole bunch of stock that's naked. And they say naked in the document, like naked short squeeze. And they're about to get margin called and liquidated. That what they can do is they can take a quick loan. And that quick loan is going to be a whole bunch of other fake shares that they can use to temporarily replace the fake shares that already exist. So what should happen is they should make good on the fake share you bought, because you bought in good faith a real share, and they should either give you money for it or they should at least give you the share. And Rule 003 allows them to take your fake share and give you another fake share instead, basically as an overnight loan. And it keeps that hedge fund from being margin called. It's garbage. It should not be allowed. And we should do our best to murder it so the NSCC does not pass it. Pitchforks, man. Pitchforks. That may be the solution to our problems. Just warm up that guillotine, get it nice and oiled so we can, sliding up and down real good. It's so hungry, that guillotine. The guillotine is so very hungry. All right. Man, I am still 50 minutes behind the chat. I'm trying to catch up. Greg Mathis got his pitchfork at the ready. Excellent. Everyone's ready. The friggin' guy, Houston, genuine concern when the MOAS happens. Can they just LME the squeeze like the big shot dude got off? They may try. Granted, LME is in trouble and they're being investigated by the British government right now. And I think part of the problem LME had was there was a bunch of existing futures out there that counted on Russia supplying nickel. And Russia not supplying nickel meant a whole bunch of those futures contracts could not be filled, which caused the price to rise. And folks were making a killing off of essentially calls on these futures. And the price just started screaming on a whole bunch of stuff that was essentially undeliverable. And so LME was like, well, it's the London Metals Exchange, LME. Was like, let's just stop everything and cancel all these new contracts. Just cancel everything. We're going to go back to what things were on February 24th or whatever. This is different because we aren't dealing with a commodity. We aren't dealing with they aren't out there in the GME mines mining more GME stock that has to get sold at market. And then all of a sudden, the world's largest producer of GME stock has an embargo on them, and they can no longer sell their GME stock or something. And then there's a short of GME stock out there that can't be made into GME motherboards. I don't know where I'm going with this metaphor. So they can't quite use the same excuse that the London Metals Exchange had to stop everything. And this point around, the big whales may actually be on our side this time. So you can't say to Vanguard or to Fidelity or BlackRock, hey, bud, we're going to make all that stuff you paid a lot of money for worthless because we're just going to stop trading. They're going to go, but we have it, so it'll be worth money. And yeah, let those hedge funds die. Just let them die. Who cares if you went to school with them? Let them die. They need to learn their lessons. Nope says, so MMTLP is a squeeze play. I got screwed pretty raw on the similar Spurt Gree merger. My calls I had became so worthless all of a sudden when they did that weird split. My calls didn't split with them, and so poof, there goes the money. Oh well. MMTLP, so MMAT would be the squeeze play. MMTLP would be sort of the catalyst for that squeeze play, in that you had a shorted stock Torchlight and you had a merging stock Metamaterial, and they merged. So Metamaterial assumed all those nakeds out there basically. And then the folks who had the Torchlight stock got the MMTLP dividends shares. And those just sat in their accounts and were supposed to never get traded. Just be a placeholder for eventually cash from when they sell off the assets. And problem is that there may have been a whole bunch of naked Torchlight shares. And so there might be a bunch of naked MMTLP shares as a result. And if a dividend is offered, and that dividend is a significant amount that's more than what the stock is trading for, then it could cause defaults for the folks that had created those naked shares. And when they get liquidated, they'd be forced to not only pay you cash for those naked shares, but also go out and buy the real Metamaterial shares because they can't buy the Torchlight shares. So it would cause a buying flurry for Metamaterial. So that's, I hope I explained that right. That's kind of the basis for it. Okay. Looking, so a lot of same questions popping up here. Ted Tremendous, Houston, detaching from all GME, what are some of the best investment strategies in your life that have helped you along the way? School, your business, books, art, etc. I mean, school is an investment, but student loans suck. um, I think everyone should be allowed to achieve the education level they want. I think an educated population, a population that finds interesting things to learn, is healthy. Some folks go to school specifically to make more money. I didn't necessarily go to school for that. I just go to school because I wanted to learn things from experts in fields I was curious in. Since that time, with the advancement of the internet, like there was no Wikipedia when I started college. And so, trying to find sources to sort of teach yourself a lot of things. There's no YouTube. There's none of that stuff. My cousin Taylor is a world-renowned photographer, landscape photographer. He does, campaigns for Nikon and British Airways and does videography for National Geographic specials and the BBC. And the dude's 23 years old. He had the cover of Photography magazine when he was like 15. And he learned how to become a master photographer from YouTube. As a preteen, he was just fascinated and wanted a really nice camera and wanted to learn everything about, all the lenses and exposures and nighttime photography and stellar photography and, low light and, doing multiple frames and videos and drones. And he learned all that stuff from YouTube, which is incredible. I would have loved to have had something like that where experts could make little videos showing you how to do specific things and you go, oh, that's how you do it. He doesn't have a degree in photography. He never did any formal classes in photography. When he went to college, he did finance because he was like, well, I am a gig worker. I should learn how to run my little business as a gig worker. So that's what he went to college for. Today, I see that as a great way to learn things. The problem is that if you're an artist and you produce good art, people could recognize that right away. But you can't be an amateur astronomer and have anyone take you seriously on anything. So if you go to YouTube and watch a bunch of videos on astronomy, you might not necessarily become a better astronomer because you don't know if those videos are actually teaching you the high-level differential calculus that's needed to calculate the hydrostatic equilibrium inside of a dwarf-class star. So you need to have an actual expert verify that you can do those things. You can't become an autodidact and become a successful civil engineer building bridges that hundreds of thousands of cars are going to drive across a day. You're going to have to go to the school, learn from particular people that can verify you did that stuff correctly. You passed the test, you did the engineering exams, and so on. But I do believe you should have the access to become an expert in the things you want to be an expert in. And I think public institutions, higher education institutions, should all be tuition free and allow folks that opportunity. Because too many people, they forego college because they know it's going to be huge amounts of loans. They don't think they'll be able to pay for it. They end up having to join the military or, whatever. And they had dreams and hopes. And I don't know where I'm going with this question. I think I kind of left the tarmac there. But I'm always fascinated to see what people find interesting. Everyone has a genius in something. And some of that genius is something that's very commercially viable and it can make them a lot of money. Others are just weird little curiosities. They just happen to be really good at, mowing patterns in their yard. I don't know. But every single one of you in this chat, you have some weird genius somewhere that you are top 1% in the world on some weird little thing. And I think it's beautiful. And I love to find out what those folks' genius is in. my genius just happens to be trivia. And that's where my genius lies. I can't draw a picture to save my life. I'm mediocre at playing music. I was pretty good at throwing a baseball, but then my body fell apart. But I think right now at this weird moment, my best investments might have been like these fancier, better cameras and microphone. going forward. I don't know. I never imagined tripping and falling into doing this YouTube thing. It just a total accidental happenstance. I just thought, hey, yeah, this guy wants me to have me on his podcast, and I'll chat. Why not? That sounds like fun. And then having it go viral, and then people make weird memes of my face, and then demand I make a podcast, and then here I am, closing in on midnight on a Friday, and there's 300 of you sitting in here, and I know there's going to be 6,000 to 10,000 other people who watch this later for some reason. It is the future is friggin' weird, man. It's so weird. Okay, Brian Zayas, Houston. In the last Tesla earnings call, Elon mentioned mining lithium is like printing money. So if you could buy land to dig up lithium, where would it be? Most likely places are going to be dry lake beds, because lithium overall is an evaporate material. So it dissolves pretty well, like in water, and runs down out of the mountains where the lithium deposits may be, and then ends up in a basin, and then the sun bakes it, and those salt lake beds are going to be pretty rich in lithium as well as salt. The second order of lithium you're going to get from pegmatites. So these are magmatic, igneous rock, like magma bubbles inside the earth that slowly cool. They don't break out into lava flows. They just cool inside the earth. If they do so slowly enough, then crystals can start to form as this magma cools. So you get nice big crystals. You'll find lots of gemstones in pegmatites. You'll find labradorite. You'll find sapphires. You'll find chrysoberyls. You'll find emeralds, all sorts of things in these pegmatites. And one of those things are lithium crystals. So you can get crystallized lithium and like do hard rock mining of physical lithium crystals out of some of these pegmatites. In the U.S., there's a couple of spots where those are. One is in Wyoming, and another big one was just discovered in Maine, in some mountains there. But most of the lithium in the world, like the biggest lithium deposits, are in these big salt beds. So if we go to the Google Earth, come on, Google Earth, show us what you got. So the two biggest on Earth are... And outback of Australia probably has a bunch too. See all these dry lake beds here in Australia? Let's get the sucker facing north. There's probably lithium in these salt lake beds. But the two biggest is Afghanistan. This whole bitch right here. This has so much lithium in it. Like trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of lithium in this guy. And then the other big one is Bolivia, which is where Elon overthrew the government of Bolivia, is this salt lake bed complex here. There is boatloads of lithium in here. And the Bolivian government was like, you know what, we don't want to destroy our environment for lithium mining, so screw you. And then Elon pressured the U.S. government, and essentially there was a coup. The socialist head of the government in La Paz got overthrown, and they put in some hard right radicals in there. And then those radicals only lasted like 2 years and then got slaughtered in elections, and now the socialists run everything again. But there's just a lot of lithium in this sucker. So dry lake beds are a great place. I wouldn't doubt if China has a bunch. I don't know how much they've investigated, because the Gobi Desert is gigantic. This sucker here is just a big basin. And there's all sorts of dry lakes surrounding the Gobi that could possibly have lithium in them as well. But those are the easiest or the most prolific places where lithium is going to be. Now, that lithium is incredibly tedious to mine. It takes a lot of carbon input, a lot of big trucks, a lot of processing, a lot of electricity, a lot of oil. Just the carbon footprint of lithium is huge. So much so that if you get an electric powered car, you may not actually be reducing your carbon footprint compared to just buying a good fuel-efficient used car. That also being said, with the advancement of these solid-state batteries that are coming out and these supercapacitors, in 2 or 3 years, we may never need lithium again. We may have much, much, much better sources of batteries that last longer, are less carbon intensive, are more stable, can be charged and discharged more. So that might be our future. They may need lithium now for the next, 3 to 5 years. But outside of that, I think lithium mining's done 5 years from now. If companies like GMG can scale and provide their supercapacitors, then we won't even need them anymore. So in the short term, lithium might be printing money. In the long term, 10 years from now, no one will give a shit about lithium. That's my prediction. Grandpa Barney says, if you put a lithium metal in a bucket of water, it lights up and explodes. I've done it with taking strips out of a AA battery. Wild. Explain. All right, lithium is a volatile. It's an alkali metal. It's a volatile alkali metal. That's so bring up periodic table. Go there. Turn off the Google Earth. All right. So periodic table was set up there's several different kinds of periodic tables. The one we mostly use in Western society is this one that was set up at actually the University of Sakhalin in Russia. On one side you have the volatiles, and the other side you've got noble metals. And without making this too big of a chemistry lesson, so the way atoms get set up, depending on their numbers of protons and electrons, the protons and neutrons they have in there, will mean how many electrons they're required to have to even out the molecule. Now, if you have things like carbon, silicon, germanium in this row here, these things bond really easily with other chemicals, other elements, because they can share electrons across their bond. And so that's why so many things are made out of carbon and silica. And so many different rocks are made out of that, and life is made out of carbon, because they bond really well with these other materials. They make things like hydrocarbons or silicates. Things like noble metals, helium, neon, argon, so on, they do not have a single bonding point for any electrons, so they cannot form a compound. They just can't. You aren't going to get helium to combine with anything. Helium will always remain helium. Same thing with neon, same thing with argon, same thing with krypton and xenon, and so on. There's a couple other things that are nobles, like gold. Gold doesn't really bond with anything, so it's called a noble metal. But on this side, you got the volatiles. And these things want to bond with everything so bad they explode. And so hydrogen on its own, you leave hydrogen out there, it's going to go, oh my gosh, oxygen, going to explode. You leave lithium in there, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to explode. Sodium, if you want to see cool explosions, type into Google sodium lake, Washington State, World War II, and you'll see them just dumping these barrels of sodium into an old lake and just making cool explosions. Potassium, same way. Rubidium, all these things are volatiles in that they want to bond with everything really violently because they have a whole bunch of desire to just take the electrons from someone else, and they go boom boom. So sodium can make huge explosions. But when it's bound with something, totally fine. So salt is sodium, is tons of sodiums. Water is hydrogen. Water is fairly inert. Like, we can put all the hydrogen we want in our body via water. But if we were to pump our body full of pure hydrogen, we would explode into water as it combined with all the oxygen in our body, and we went boom. So that's why you get big reactions out of these things. In 6th grade, one of the most beautiful things I ever saw was my professor had this big old brick of sodium that he kept in oil, and he cut it with a knife because it's a pretty soft metal, and took that chunk, put the rest back in oil. We went out in the parking lot, and he threw it into a pothole and made that pothole so much bigger. It just fascinated me. So there's your hand wavy lesson on the periodic table and why alkali volatiles are explosive. There you go. Hope that worked. Bee's Knees says, "We love you, Big H. Happy birthday." Thank you. My friend Justin we did rec league basketball together in high school, and he just started calling me Big H. And he got to go to the Oscars this year. He was part of the project for the movie Coda, and he's a sign language interpreter, and he was the interpreter for the set and for the actors that were in that movie. So he got to like go to the Oscars and go to the Critics' Choice Awards and the Golden Globes and all those things, and it's pretty cool, pretty awesome. That's the guy who called me Big H all the time. What's up, Big H? When I go down to LA, I get to go visit him and eat delicious Mexican food. Going to the chats. Where are we, dogs? All right, 11:40. I can maybe last another 20 minutes before I turn into a pumpkin. So, Nico Daru, Houston, have you heard the Content, Finance, and Strategy VP of Netflix is ex-BCG project leader? Color me surprised. Yep. I think this is them getting torched from the inside. The calls are coming from inside the house. Jonathan says, Houston, avian flu reported in China. How do we get China to bend at the knee to the rest of the world and to use proper mRNA vaccine? Do you see civil war in China? Fish wears mattress, thanks. Well, we used to have USAID folks operating in China as part of our USAID program, and their job, they're operating in Vietnam, operating in China, they were operating all over the world, in almost every nation you could think of. And if they got reports, there's certain metadata that we have at CIA and NSA and things that murmurs of hospitalizations happen, and they can trigger a warning that goes out to the USAID worker, and the USAID worker goes like, oh my gosh, this town is having a bird flu outbreak, we need to cull everything. And so they kill everyone's birds, they pay them like, I'm so sorry to kill your birds, and then they import some fresh ones that don't have the disease, and those folks can start their farms over. This was a program that was ongoing for, 40 years. And we did it all over the place. And so we limited the amount of zoonotic viruses that could pass to humans and hopefully not become human-to-human transmissible. A lot of these bird flus happen because people are with the birds. They get just a huge viral load from the birds and they get the bird flu. But they don't shed the virus in the same way, so other humans don't get it. But what we're scared of is that one mutation. That one mutation that allows it to go from person to person, and then it becomes no longer this novel zoonotic virus. It becomes something like COVID and just spreads because we've got no immune systems for it. And those bird flus are pretty gnarly. They have like a 30% fatality rate, which is just awful. That's bubonic plague level of carnage. But we've been lucky so far in that we've been able to cull these herds and get rid of them. But October 2019, the Trump administration closed that program. I want you to check this out. Whoops, I typed it in wrong. So, October 2019, this USAID program that was designed specifically to catch these outbreaks, stop them in their tracks before they could go from human to human, quarantine people, cull animals, do all this stuff, was closed in October of 2019. And 3 weeks later, COVID. This is a program that costs us $50 million a year. That's it. We closed this program, and now we have a global pandemic that costs the world economy like $40 trillion. Because we wanted to save $50 million because we made a bunch of tax breaks for rich assholes that had hedge funds. And oh my God, how short-sighted can we be? So frustrating to look at this stuff. But yeah, they worked fine, trying to find these viruses, and you guys might be still behind a paywall for you folks. I've got a subscription so I can read it, but I'll pop it in there. You can read it and just slap your foreheads. Like literally, this is October 25th, 2019, and they closed the one program that existed anywhere in the world that can stop this stuff before it starts. And then 3 weeks later, blowback. We're so bad at this. Okay, Daphne. Any thoughts on whether NFT dividend is still in the realm of possible for GME, or is a split divvy taking its place to take care of the shorts? That's definitely still in the realm of possible. I mean, let's say that the split divvy happens and we get some squeezage, but we have a whole bunch of folks that never get their dividends, right? That the hedge funds evaporate, they go into these weird derivatives, and they sit on the books of investment banks and so on, prime brokers, and they never get their dividends. And so GME goes to the DTCC and says, hey, y'all fucked up. We're going to recall all of our shares from your system. You have 90 days to give us all the shares that exist. And we are going to our own market that we created. So then GameStop can go to this new Ethereum-based Loopring network that they created with Loopring and Immutable X. And now they can trade their stock here on a blockchain. And someone asked me a really interesting question. I was going to bring this up on the show because I didn't know the answer to it. Let's say GameStop is now running this marketplace, right? They're running this tradable market. They are now technically an institution, correct? So if they are an institution, doesn't it make shorting their stock illegal, since it's illegal to short the stocks of financial institutions? Can they make that argument? Can they say, hey, SEC and FTC, they're not allowed to short our stocks. We are a financial institution. We trade commodities. We have a market, an exchange set up to trade these commodities. So they cannot short us. I think that's a pretty rad argument. I just kind of diverged from what you were asking. But yes, they still could do an NFT dividend if they want to. That's still on the table. My guess is they may just lob stuff until everyone is finally done trying to short them and get over it. Okay. Mark Kilpatrick, Houston, I feel that if someone shorts a stock, they should have to put up the same amount of money as someone that goes long on a stock. It seems like a very unbalanced system. I agree. It's incredibly unbalanced. That they can basically rack up 30 times the leverage as somebody that goes long on something. That does not sit well with me at all. Okay. We got like 15 minutes left. I am still an hour and change behind the chat. So bad. It's physically impossible to get through and answer all the questions. It's not possible. It's physically not possible because there's more and more pile up, and I just get further and further behind. And ugh. All right. Oh, the best cam hot girl showed up again. How are these guys have so many accounts? And why do they love my show so much? I just don't understand. Bestcams.fun, hot girls and boys 18 plus video chat. You guys are amazing. How many accounts you can create. It's just mind boggling. I mean, we are I'm at show 137. I bet half my shows have you guys showing up. So that's 70-ish accounts you've created just to get on my show and spam the chat. My hat is off to you. Bestcams.fun, hot girls and boys 18 plus video chat. You guys are incredible at this. You're still going to get deleted every single time, but man, all right. Let's try to get to somewhere where we are closer to the end here. Okay. Oh, you guys. All right. Greg Mathis, my genius is farting. So my wife and daughter tell me. Well, the older you get, the more farty you get. That's true. That's why they call people an old fart. And then you just can't even control anymore. Just as you're walking, like, and just like my old man. He is exactly that way. Any activity, he's like, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna go get her. And it's just, that's my future. That's what I'm looking forward to. So when I'm 85 years old, I can just be cutting him constantly, and no one can say anything about it. They're like, well, he's old. BW brand, if you want lithium, go to China. Yeah, very possible. I think the Gobi is a lot of lithium. And they don't necessarily talking about how much they have. They're just secretly just mining it up. Archaeology? Houston, have you heard about it? E3 Metals Corp. No. E3 Metals Corp. The lithium company, goal producing lithium products to power growing electrical evolution, based in Alberta. So they must have found some hard lithium in Alberta. Maybe there are some lake beds out there. Huh. A lot of mining in Alberta, for sure. But no, I don't know about E3. I'll have to look at them up too, to see what's going on. They claim the most giant mine. All right. Oh, they claim that Canada's most extensive lithium. Possibly. If Canada has a bunch of lithium, it's probably in hard rock lithium. So they might have a bunch of big pegmatite loads. Bee's Knees, yes, thank you for super chat there. I hope I did see that one. It just took me a little while till I saw it pop up across my feed. Sorry about that. The blue ones don't appear at the top of my chat, so I don't see them. I don't know why YouTube does that, because I want to be able to appreciate everybody who sends such a thing. I love you all for it. You don't have to at all, but I will answer super chat questions for sure. But I won't be able to get to everyone else's just because there's not enough time in the day. Yeah, there's actually, speaking of Netflix, there is a great docuseries that was put on that amazingly came out so coincidentally. It's serendipity, baby. Called Pandemic, that's on Netflix. It came out like January of 2020, and they profile one of the U.S. aid workers who travels around the world, culling these chicken farms and trying to stop these diseases. It follows a small biotech firm that thinks they can make basically a one-shot vaccine for the flu, and would make everybody immune to all the flus that have ever happened, because there's 4 main strains of the flu, and we could be immune to all of them, so that we don't have to worry about any little mutations. It just wouldn't work. And they were having lots of promise, and then they were following the folks who are like emergency response people for the CDC or the like state of New York, things like that. And then they followed researchers researching these diseases at universities like in Cairo and China. And it's a pretty fascinating, I don't know, maybe 3 episodes, 6 episodes. I can't quite remember. But it's very well done. Explains it very, very succinctly. Talks about like, hey, the next pandemic's coming. We need to be ready for it. And then the pandemic came and we weren't ready for it. So, yeah, we didn't do any of the things they mentioned we should do in that documentary. It's like, if you watch that documentary and you see how the U.S. government reacted, you've been like, why didn't you just watch this documentary before you made any decisions? So frustrating. But if you're if you still have a Netflix account, you haven't one of those people that have dropped it, watch Pandemic, the docuseries on there. It's very well done, very informative, and way more hopeful than it would have been, because like the USAID person they follow around no longer has a job. The folks who had made the vaccine for the flu got sidetracked because everything went to COVID research, and so their vaccine is still waiting. And that's, that's where we're sitting. What is this thing? There's something in my shirt that's weird. And it's... Oh, that was a burr. There's a burr on my shirt. Okay. YouTubing, heads up. The guy from Better Markets in a Super Stonks interview said that the SEC report wasn't actually a thorough and signed SEC report, but rather an unfinalized and rushed staff report. That the one about the January squeeze? Yeah. I think it was just like, I think they're just nod, winking their way through that sucker. Okay. Got a few minutes left before I can finally close my eyes. BW Brand Houston should go Pantheon style and answer questions for 6 hours until they're all done. I don't think it's possible. It is not possible. You guys will make so many new ones. By the time we get to 6 hours with this, I will be 5 hours behind. I could not do an all-day one of these things. It just wouldn't. I could never answer all the questions you guys have. I can't do it. It is not physically possible for me. Yeah. BW Brand, I did. That's true. So a few streams ago, I caught up at the end. I think it might be the only time I've ever actually gotten through the entire chat. Although I do think that some of them, because it resets when I scroll down, it like for some reason doesn't buffer the actual chats below where I'm reading, and so if I scroll down too much, it just sends me to the bottom all of a sudden. And if I scroll back up, I lose, 30 minutes of the show just vanish. So that might be why I was able to make it to the end. I don't know if I actually answered all of them, but it might have been a result of that not buffering chat stream thing. Okay. Chit768, taking a break from all the serious topics. How are you feeling about the sunny day we're going to have tomorrow? I'll be in Alki myself. It's going to be sunny tomorrow? What? Dogs, do you want to go for a big walk? It is going to be... Well, it's going to be sunny for a good chunk of tomorrow. Almost 60 degrees. Woo! Nice. Oh. Maybe we'll take a nice big walk tomorrow. How does that sound? You guys would love that. Not getting pissed on by the skies. I could use some sunshine in my life. That sounds wonderful. So Chit, yes. Alki would be a great place to go, but the dogs aren't allowed to Alki. Dogs aren't allowed on Seattle beaches, which is, just allow dogs and make them clean up after themselves. That's it. Okay. Dunel's going to bed. Dunel, thank you for the shirt again. That shirt was amazing. And if I wasn't on a streak of wearing a different shirt every show, I would wear it every show. I love it. I'm going to find an excuse to wear it all the time because everyone should have monkey butts and Shilpa Batmans on their shirts. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. My brain is starting to crash right now. I am like desperately trying to stay awake. John Doe says SEC can't even see FTDs. How were they able to be effective stopping naked shorting 2008? I think they only issued a press release and prayed. Well, that's because Congress, all they cared about was naked shorting on the big financial institutions. So they basically just said, no, you can't short financial institutions. And they ignored that for everyone else. So, what was the name of that documentary? It's on YouTube. It's about naked shorting. Maybe it came out a few years ago. It's not the highest production value, but they point out like the naked shorting that's been rampant since the 1990s. And Solomon Smith Barney was basically organized crime where they would get these companies to do IPOs. Eagle Tech was one of the companies. It was like the first voice over IP company that created all the ability to make phone calls with your computer. And Solomon Smith Barney took them IPO and shorted the shit out of them so that they basically got shorted out of existence before they could ever do anything. Best cams for mod. What was the name of that movie? I don't know. Dirty Wall Street, something like that. Yeah. And speaking of Netflix and other documentaries, if you do have a chance to watch the Dirty Money docuseries, they do little 2-hour documentaries every year or so. They make like 6 of them. They're amazing. They're absolutely amazing. They talk about payday loans. They talk about pharmaceutical companies. They talk about the Kushner family. They talk about what other ones did they do? They did a whole bunch. They did Trump University. They did the things that Britney Spears had, the conservatorship, like the people who get power of attorney over old folks and basically just rob them blind, and there's nothing you can do about it. And Britney Spears is literally the first person in the United States to have the court rule in favor of the conservatee rather than conservator and separate that relationship. It's never happened for anyone else. People have been battling it for like 20, 30, 40 years. And these poor old folks get preyed upon by predatory lawyers or by predatory like live-in nurses, and they get them to sign away power of attorney, and they just bleed them dry. And it is just brutal. I think more folks need to watch that and realize just how bad it is for old folks out there. Okay. Sean Marcos, this will be the last one of the night. Sean Marcos, I think RC's tweet about the Fed pumping tons of money is the root of political divisiveness and other major problems. It is a wise and well thought tweet. Your thoughts? Yeah, the Fed is trying to combat inflation by raising interest rates while also contributing to inflation through their plunge protection team and just printing money in this reverse repo market. We need to pull the Band-Aid. We need to rip that Band-Aid real damn quick. Let all this stuff reset. Force folks to pay off what they can pay off, and start over, man. It's just... If you make life hard on the average person is going to push to one side or the other. And they just... I don't know. We need to make the middle class comfortable. We need to make people's lives comfortable, and we need to make it so people don't have to struggle, man. We create a society to make everyone's lives better, not maximize profit and drive revenue. You're not fucking cattle. You're human beings, and your life should be much easier than it is. That should be the entire goal of society, to make your life easier, make you more comfortable. You shouldn't have to worry about, can I pay my rent or have to eat food? Which one am I going to do? That should not be a choice someone in a modern society has to make. We need to do better, man. We need to do better. Okay. That's it for me. That's it for Late Night Friday. Expect perhaps a Twitch stream over the weekend, as I'll play a video game at some point. And other than that, I'll see you guys Monday sometime. Yeah. Take care of yourselves. Take care of others. Have a great weekend. And your gift.